All right, I think we're rolling, so let's just try it. We'll get our levels and make sure everything's okay.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
so tell me about this.
Boy, Bill Trego made high school not only bearable, but wonderful. And I wouldn't say single-handedly, because he was always part of the dual unit. You know, it was Bill Trego and Nancianne Parella, or Mr. T and Mrs. P. And he could sing any part in the choir better than any of us. He could blow his nose on, I think, an A. He would sometimes, just for fun, start it, you know, if we needed a pitch, he'd blow his nose, and we'd have to pick it up from that. He was the best repository of really dumb jokes ever. He was very good at telling them, and he enjoyed them immensely, and so they were enjoyable.
Bill Trego and Nancianne Parella, I think that there are hundreds and hundreds of people that will say that those people made the biggest influence in their lives of anyone.
He had this concept that there's one way to support, and that's from the bottom up. And so if you could take a dime and hold it in your butt cheeks, then you were supporting properly.
I was in the women's chorus, but only for 1 year, which was my senior year that I was at the high school. But that 1 year was really memorable, and I felt a great connection with Mr. Trego, terrific man. And even in the yearbook signing that both he and Mrs. P signed, he writes, "Dear Ibby, we wish you the best in all you do. It was good working with you this year. Keep in touch and keep singing. Love, Mrs. P and Mr. T." And I'll be forever grateful for that tenderness and that warmth and that encouragement that he gave that led me to pursue a music career at Carnegie Mellon and move on from there.
There were 3 music teachers at Princeton High School. The oldest guy there was a guy named Sylvan Friedman, and he ran the orchestra. If he was the only music educator there, he'd still be a step above everything else I ever saw. And then you had Jack Horner and Bill Trego and Nancianne Parella. 3 very different techniques in teaching. Trego was the great big cuddly teddy bear, but you knew he had the Jedi, he had the secret, and he wanted to share it with you, but it was going to be on his terms.
Well, I'm sure everybody, somebody must have said something about his amazing falsetto, that he could actually sing what we were to sing, and he had us in stitches. The one thing that I learned from him that I always hold dear, don't approach the note as if you're trying to reach it. You sing the note like you've already reached the note. It's like a mindset, and you're landing on top of it.
One time I saw him, during the time I was in and out of school teaching. I said, "Oh, Bill, I walked by the auditorium and I heard they were singing like angels." He says, "I'm going to break them if it's the last thing I do."
Bill was Mr. Motivation before we had any motivational speakers. He made them believe in themselves. So that statement is just Bill saying, I am going to push them, and they're going to find out what they're capable of doing. That's it, period.
William R. Trego served as director of the Princeton, New Jersey High School Choir from 1965 to 1992, in partnership with his brilliant associate director, Nancianne Parella. Much beloved for his work at both Princeton High School and Princeton University, Bill's tireless pursuit of excellence, his enormous technical expertise, and his unwavering taste have earned him a reputation that is singular in the world of music education. While his charisma, generosity, sense of humor, and bigger-than-life personality are nothing short of legendary.
When I was in undergraduate school, I was able to come visit Westminster, and one of my teachers had said to me, "You should really check out this school for graduate studies because they have a phenomenal choral music program." And so, knowing that I wanted to be a choral conductor, I was like, yeah, definitely I would come check it out. So in that event, I went and observed Robert Shaw direct the Westminster Symphonic Choir, and they were working on Mozart's Requiem. That rehearsal was spectacular. I had never seen Shaw work in person. It was completely moving on so many levels. The choir was phenomenal. And the rehearsal had wrapped, and my professor at the time said to me, "We should really go across the street." And I said, "What's across the street?" And he said, "Princeton High School." So we walk in, and at the time it was their old auditorium where the choir was rehearsing. And there was this man with his boomy voice and these big gestures standing in front of the group. And this very quiet, proud accompanist at the piano who was just ever so slightly leaning in to play the correct parts.
Nancianne Parella was the accompanist for the choir. She was also the secret bludgeon that Bill used, because when Nancy lost her patience with you, she could be very fearsome but also incredibly nurturing. And she could play anything. And you're just standing there singing. It's like, how badass is she as a musician? Just like, she's raising kids, she's, working with this choir. And then you realize, oh, she's going up, she's the #1 organist up at St. John the Divine.
When Bill came, they had promised him an accompanist, which he wanted to have from Westminster. A woman was going to come over and play at 10 o'clock choir time. Well, that was risky, and it didn't really work. So the orchestra director, Sylvan Friedman, said, well, Nancianne Parella's over in the middle school. Why don't you ask her to come over and see? So Bill said, okay, I'll audition her. So he called, asked if I wanted to do this job, play for the choir, just the choir. I could cancel my classes or change the schedule, and I could come over. So I auditioned for him for the madrigal group at 7 a.m. I am not a morning person. And I was not really thinking this is going to work for me if I had to come at 7 a.m. to do anything with this man. I had no idea who he was. But we met and we worked together, and he was very different from any conductors that I knew.
They fed off of each other. Bill would often, look to Nancianne for musical advice. Nancianne felt very comfortable giving Bill musical advice. So they saw two people working together on a professional level, always with incredible graciousness, which I think in the arts today is kind of being lost. I mean, the role of the gracious artist, I don't know if it exists anymore.
I was so blown away by the sound of the group, the sense of communication by the director, the fun that they were all having. And I just thought to myself, gosh, if only I had had a high school experience like this, who knows where I would be.
During the recent reunion of the Princeton High School class of 1978, we arranged a brief gathering of former Trego students.
We were just remembering the winter concert when we would put, what kind of pictures, what's the word, the pictures that we put?
Risque?
Risque, I didn't want to say risque. We would put risque pictures in his
one
music.
risque one, the infamous one.
In
his music.
Did it?
Yes. With the ties.
I almost brought the picture with me. I have an original of 4 men standing naked by the fireplace, positioned so you couldn't see anything that you shouldn't see. But he would turn the music, and he would see it, and we would know what he saw, and you could just hear it.
Well, they would get Playboy pictures and some interesting things, and they would hide it in his music for the winter concert. Usually the winter concert. I don't know if they did it for spring concert. And one year they had this voluptuous-looking creature, and they put my face on it. And so it was a very big surprise when you could see. And of course, facially, the choir was facing the audience, and if you were smart enough, you would know when he saw the picture because of the reaction on the face.
What do we remember about? I mean, talking about something, very with great discretion.
Yeah.
How did he talk about the dime? What was the dime?
Well, he didn't talk about it with the girls, right? I mean, the girls.
Well, he would make reference in the choir about
right,
the
but
dime.
he would never explain what it is to the girls.
No, we just
He
imagined.
only explained it to the guys.
Okay.
Yeah, which was, how am I going to say this?
Yes. That was one of his favorite things.
Just say it.
Okay. Okay. He said, if you are supporting the sound properly,
Oh, yeah.
you can take a dime and put it between your butt cheeks and hold it there. And then if you're holding it there, you are supporting properly. And so at some point, someone made him a manhole cover with a dime on it, with a piece of plywood, with Trego's picture, in the Roosevelt side shot, and it says, "In dime we trust."
A bunch of the guys went out and got a manhole cover, and they pasted a silver board on it and put the dime and carried it. Those things are heavy, and they carried it up to the music room. I think it lived there for years. The only way we could get it out was to drop it down out of the window onto the ground because it was so heavy. But
They stole a manhole.
yeah, they stole it. Yes, they stole a manhole cover. Absolutely.
Good for them.
Yeah.
He fished in his pocket, and everybody knew what he was doing, and then he would just go,
Yeah.
"Dime, dime, dime."
He did the dime all the time. He talked about it for support and for pitch and for everything. I mean, it was all you had to do is say it, and you knew what had to be done, and that got the guys really, really interested.
If I can share a story from my generation, we were singing the Mozart Requiem we were talking about earlier, and one of the movements is Rex Tremending, and we all got together. And it's a very powerful piece, and it starts, Rex, Rex. So we all got together, including we were practicing with the university's chorus as well. And we said, say the word sex. Don't react, sing it exactly the same way, but instead of saying Rex, say sex. And let's see how long it takes them to figure it out. Well, you say Rex, I think it's 5 times. On the 4th, and you remember how he used to conduct. He was very, very grand. And he doesn't notice the first time. He doesn't notice the second time. The 3rd time, all of a sudden, this look's come over his face, which you all know, right? and he realizes what's just happened. And he was by far laughing the hardest of all of us. I mean, he loved it. He thought it was the greatest thing in the whole world.
My experience with Bill Trego as a freshman singer was primarily for fun. When I joined it, a lot of my girlfriends were in it, and they said, come on, sign up, and it was a full class. It wasn't just something that was done extracurricular. We had testing for it, we had to know the music, and Bill Trego expected us to know it and do it well.
I was a young choral conductor fresh out of graduate school, and I was in a secondhand record store in Philadelphia, and in the bin was this, I still remember it, had a white cover, had a picture of the tower of Princeton High School on it, and it said Princeton High School's choirs, William Trego and Nancianne Parella. I mean, I was in my first year of teaching, scared out of my mind. I mean, I had a master's degree in choral conducting, but I'm not a singer. I was a clarinetist, and I realized what I knew and what I didn't know. I put this long play on. I'd never heard singing like that, especially from a high school choir. So, you know, when you're 23, I picked up the phone. I just called. And I said, you don't know me, but my name's James Jordan, I'm at Lewisburg High School. Bill answered. And he said, well, my goodness. He says, my daughter goes to Bucknell, which is where Lewisburg is. And I said, well, I'd like to come down and just watch. And I literally took 2 personal days and I drove down here, walked in, and that's how we met. He said, come on in, you're welcome. I sat and walked, and that's when I met Nancianne. And the rest is history.
He brought back, before the nation even knew anything about this piece, but the Carl Orff, Carmina Burana. He brought that forward, and our choir, when we traveled to Europe, was the first American choir to ever sing the piece in St. Stephen's, right, and in Europe, and it was amazing. And of course, everyone, that's 1973. And, you know, 20 years later, people caught up with it.
But Carmina Burana is a huge work, very colorful, and it's very, like, out there as far as a musical piece goes.
There are these long, legato, beautiful, sustained passages, and there are also really fast patter stuff that happens where the men sing very fast text, and there's loud, you know, really dynamically diverse passages, very loud, very soft, and it really takes a very dedicated, very talented, and very disciplined singer.
And we were one of the first choirs to be invited to this Festival of 3 Cities. And they invited, I think, 6 or 10 other choirs, the best in the country.
For a group of high schoolers to get together and really put that together is really remarkable, and says a lot about the program, the director, and what, you know, what it can really do.
We didn't really get to meet some of the other choirs. I mean, we didn't sing for each other, but they had a big unified concert at the end with the orchestra kids and the choirs joining together. So it was really quite a spectacular event for them and for everybody that listened to.
The first time that I ever came across the name of Bill Trego was actually in conversation with a good friend of mine, a pianist called Roger Vignoles, and he told me, and this was about the time when I was thinking about moving to America, he told me that the only thing he knew about American choral music was that he'd been to a concert at the Cheltenham Festival in England, which is an august classical music festival, and there he had seen what he described as one of the most astonishing choral experiences he'd ever had in his life, which was the Princeton High School choir under Bill Trego performing Stravinsky's Les Noces in Russian with student soloists, with high school student soloists. And he said it's one of the most astonishing things he'd ever seen in his life. So when I arrived in Princeton in 2010, I knew all about this man's legacy as a high school educator. I didn't actually know that he'd also at the same time been leading the freshman singers at Princeton University and creating generations of Princeton graduates who were schooled and steeped in a choral music tradition and had found a love of choral music through him, whilst at the same time suffering the academic rigors of Princeton University, all that it throws at you. Pretty soon after that, a group of alumni of Princeton University approached me and said that for their upcoming reunion they would like to be brought together with Bill. And at this point, it was really the alumni that taught me all about his work at Princeton. And we had a reunion with Bill. We had it all planned, and the idea was for him to come to campus. This was probably in May 2012, and unfortunately, this was just around the time when Bill's health really started declining, and he wasn't able to make the journey. So we made the connection on Skype, and there was this wonderful occasion in our big rehearsal hall in the music department, McAlpin Hall, where we put a big screen down, and we got Bill and Patty on the screen, and they were kind of overseeing a rehearsal of music with about 25 alums, which I was leading, but Bill was overseeing it and listening to everything. And then one by one, they all got up and they went and introduced themselves to Bill, and Bill had his moment with each one of them on Skype, and the room was full of tears. I think at both ends of the camera, actually, Patty and Bill, and each one of the students as they went up, and they all told him what he meant to them and how deeply they cherished their memories of him, how much it had stayed with them for the rest of their lives. The man's legacy is very, very deep in this town, and especially at this high school, but in lots of other places too.
The most important thing for us within this community is to provide the touring opportunities for kids. And this was established by both Bill and Nancianne in their time, which then Chuck continued, and then Sarah and I have continued to happen every other year, which is a significant part of our curriculum for the older kids who are in the choral program. So what that entails is every other year we choose a particular region that we want to focus on, preferably something that, a place where choral music is pretty spectacular, and there are incredible choral directors and composers from the time who are writing, just glorious music that we can share with our own kids and teach them the native tongue of that country, and allow them to have that opportunity to sing the beautiful music from that particular area.
We didn't want to make it a thing that kids wanted to be in the choir in order to take a trip. Now this is way, in the 60s, and there's people going to Europe. It was not an everyday thing like it is now. So when we would get an invitation, like to the American Choral Directors Association, we got it because we were good. And so that legitimized our request to go to perform at these different cities. And the Board of Education backed us up, and we went, and it was a very good experience. And that's how we happened to have met Vincent Persichetti in 1966, and had him come. We were doing his Mass. It was fairly new at the time, and he came and worked with the kids and worked with us performing how it should be performed, and he came to the winter concert and listened to it while it was there. And so we accepted invitations like that until then. 73 was when we got the invitation to go to Vienna, Budapest, and Prague.
So one of the first tours that Bill and Nancy did was to Vienna, Prague, and Budapest. And this is my 5th tour, I believe, with PHS Choir, and we are going to Vienna and Budapest.
Coming from America, where there's no big halls that have a reflective, or churches that have reflection like St. Stephen's, the gallery is like another building almost. It has wood all around the back, and the organ is big, and I was going to play the organ, and I practiced the night before, and the morning of the concert, the man who was the organist called and said, a transformer has blown on the organ, and we can't use it. So we did only a cappella stuff, but we did a Sveiling, Hodie Christus Natus Es, which is, you started with Hodie, da-da-dum, big pause. And we could never really appreciate what the pause was, except when you sing that in St. Stephen's. It takes a minute for it to go there and back. And it was so exciting and so incredible for both Bill and I. He went down to hear it, and I went down to hear it, because we'd never heard anything like that before. And so it's just an amazing experience. And we sang in the Music Verein, which is the hall they do every New Year's Eve. They broadcast it worldwide. We sang in that hall on that stage in our program when we went in '73. Every time I see that, I think, we were there. I was on the stage. I mean, it was just amazing.
We traveled to Budapest, Vienna. Yeah, exactly. I know. And Prague. And Prague, which was behind the Iron Curtain. Right. And, we had some very interesting experiences, which, one that Trego, he was, you have to kind of pull all these kids together, right? So Preziosa was one of the chaperones, of course, Miss Parella, and a few other teachers. With certain things we couldn't do in Prague. I mean, we couldn't walk out the door, and you couldn't carry a Bible. And of course, we had two students take a Bible and actually go to a church. So we almost had an international incident over that, and he got us all calmed down.
We were all supposed to be in our rooms at like 10 o'clock because we were singing at St. Stephen's in Vienna the next day, and we had worked for a year and a half to sing there and get the orchestra, the whole thing. And we started checking rooms to make sure everybody was in, because we were outside of Vienna in a suburb area. And we couldn't find one group. And we called different rooms all over the hotel. People who had already been asleep, people that were renting the hotel room, they were not part of our group, who were not happy that we were calling them at 11:45. And I had visions of, it was 12 stories high. I thought, oh my gosh, they've gone out on the balcony, they've fallen down, they're in the parking lot dead. I mean, I went through all this stuff. And when we found them, my language was rather colorful. I won't say the word on here, but I used a word that they presently use, and they didn't use very much in 1973, because I was so angry with them for making us. And Bill had everything he could do to keep from laughing, because I was so angry. And he was trying to be angry, but he couldn't really do that, because he would have been one of the boys that did that if he was on the trip. They were playing poker.
If that wasn't enough, we were leaving the hotel, and they had beautiful beach-sized, towels, and big stripes, colorful. And, in those days, people took towels. And so kids, we took a few towels. They were all packed and everything. And they came out to our bus and said, they had done a count before we had even left there. Like $10 a towel. I was like, oh, people just started throwing, their money. And Trego was always very even keel about it and says, you're not in the U.S. Don't take the towels, especially when they're that obvious, okay? We get to the border, you have to go through security guards, and they were standing with machine guns ready to inspect our bus. And in those days, I had a little compact clock for the, your table, your nightstand, and it was going tick, tick. They put the guns towards my suitcase. I'm thinking, oh my God, they're going to shoot my clothes in holes, And they said, oh, you have to open it up. So I had to open it up, and neatly on top was my beautiful towel. And all of the choir screamed. We were just in laughter. Then They turned the guns on us because they didn't understand what was going on.
Oh, boy. Wow.
Through all that, Trego was very calm. He says, we'll get through this.
This is a man who could have had a job at any college or university in this country. Could have had a major choral conducting career in a university setting. Gained lots of, although he got notoriety with this program without doubt, but he committed himself to teaching high school students to be artists. I mean, that's what my takeaway is. They understood what it was to not only be artists, but because Bill was such an honest person and because Nancianne was so passionate and honest, they didn't know how to behave any other way. And I watched them with deep admiration. Bill was, it's very funny. Every time I call Bill on the phone here, before we got to business, there was always jokes. Every time, or I'd be in my office in Lewisburg and he'd call and he'd say, look, I don't have anything to talk about, but I have this new joke. And, you know, it was just the way he approached life. Patty, his wife, became very good friends. You know, they were just so open and welcoming. And through Bill and people at Westminster, Frauke Hasemann, there were so many connections that started. When I went to the Hart School of Music, when I taught choral music ed methods, I used that program as a model and brought my students to Princeton on field trips. And it was, they always marveled. I mean, you had that program across the street and then you could come across the street to hear a Westminster choir. Bill's passion in his teaching, his musicianship, and I think what he drew out of his students, because he was so honest, is his legacy. And people love Bill. And they remember not only loving him, but they loved the music that they did with him. And that's the biggest tribute anybody could ever have.
He kept it fun. No hidden agendas, no sarcasm, nothing like that. No, well, this is what you have to do in order to get someplace. No, it wasn't like that at all. No. Very spiritual, was a staunch Presbyterian and very strong belief in God and the good in everybody. No.
Well, I had recorded the last Tom Hilbish winter concert in 1964, and Bill Trego, when he took over the next fall of '65, was given my name and got in touch with me and asked me to come and talk to him. I was then a freshman at Rutgers, a new freshman, having come from Massachusetts, and came in, talked to Bill about the choir's needs for recording concerts, and that was where it started. He had just hired Nancianne Parella, which is part of the film's story, and it was well met because through Bill I learned a craft that I did not know well. I thought I knew how to record choruses. I learned that I needed a lot of help and explanation from pros in terms of mic placement and what mics to use. And over the next 4 years, until I graduated from Rutgers and went into the Navy, I was here for virtually every concert he did. And in those days, of course, the recordings were all on reel-to-reel tape, which the high school purchased a very high-end system of a reel-to-reel tape recorder and very good Sennheiser microphones, and it was just lovely. It was really great. I had dealt mostly with home tape decks, and home tape decks are clearly not professional. They work differently. They don't have quite as good response as the professionals do, and I learned by making some mistakes, some of which were that when the choir sang full out, I overloaded the tape and it was distorted, and you had to learn to set your levels during rehearsals. And that was lesson number one, coming to a rehearsal, which I still do to this day, to make sure that I understand what the music is and how loud it gets. The other mistake you make with professional tape decks that you don't make with home tape decks is that you can inadvertently have the tape turned upside down. And you're changing tape from the first half to the second half. And I remember distinctly at Richardson Auditorium with the Princeton University Orchestra and Bill Trego's choir recording the entire second half with the tape upside down. And when we got through that half, I immediately went to playback to listen to it and realized what I had done. And as the applause was still going on, I went up to Bill Trego, who had just come off the stage after being given acclamation. He was brought up to bow. And I said, Bill, we have to do that whole half again, if that's possible. He said, what happened? And I said, the tape was upside down. And indeed, Nick Harsigny, who was the conductor of the Princeton University Orchestra, announced to the audience if they'd like to get a really good encore, they were going to do the whole second half again, and they were welcome to stay and be just as enthusiastic, and that's what we did.
A couple of years ago, when it became clear that a choir that might evoke memories of Bill Trego's freshman singers at Princeton, but not necessarily be the same thing. I don't think it's quite right now to have a choir that's exclusively for freshmen. But we wanted to have a choir, and we felt like it should bear his name. That it should be a way of just kind of imprinting his stamp on the musical, vocal, choral fabric at Princeton University. So we started a choir, and we decided to call it the William Trego Singers. And the choir has its own sort of life cycle, its own agenda, its own repertoire, its own approach to life, its own approach to programming, which is slightly separate from the other big choir at the university, which is the Glee Club. And it's flourishing. It's as big as the Glee Club now. And what's been really gratifying is that the university has agreed to allow me to bring here a young conductor who is of such vitality and musicality and with such charismatic leadership as my colleague Stephanie Tubiolo, who is now on the faculty at Princeton and who leads the William Trego Singers.
I first learned about Bill Trego by inheriting the choir at Princeton that bears his name, the Trego Singers. And the singers in that group are from all different majors at Princeton, all different levels of musicianship, all different levels of choral experience. And my primary goal with that group was to make sure that everybody who wants to sing at Princeton has a place to do it. So the choir last year was about 30 to 35 people. This year is between 70 and 80 and is now almost as large as the Glee Club. And next year might be larger than the Glee Club because we don't turn anybody away, which is something that's really important to me. And the singers in that group have all different levels of choral and musical experience, all different places of study. There are pianists in there who have always wanted to sing in choir. There are people who have had tons of singing experience and sing in opera and theater and shows and things like that. And there are people for whom it's their first choir ever who came to Princeton and said, I've always wanted to try singing in choir, and so here I am.
Hark, I hear the harps eternal ringing on the farther shore.
So can we start it again? Make sure you're nice and grounded at the very, very start. Do you guys notice how at concerts, if you're really excited, it's really hard to not sing sharp? Yeah. Do you feel that way? So I think just really, really grounded, not too bright. Sopranos, bright.
Hark, I hear the harps eternal ringing on the farther shore. As I hear those swollen waters with their deep and solemn roar. Hallelujah, 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 glory to the great I
just hear altos and basses. The social dynamic of the group is really strong. It's a really lovely community. And I sort of got to know that group and build that group before I learned about Trego's unbelievable legacy and the love of music that he instilled in so many people in planning this memorial celebration, getting to talk to so many alumni about how fond they are of their time with him and how they're singing so much today and it's all because of him, or even if they haven't sung in the last couple of years, how intent they are on practicing really hard for this concert. And even just the sheer number of people who are coming, people from every class, from the late 60s through to the early 90s, is really incredible.
In further celebration of Bill Trego, our mentor and friend, for the music and sense of possibility he brought to our lives, a memorial concert has been planned in his memory to be held at the Princeton University Chapel.
This facility started or opened in 2006, and we use it every single day for various events. The whole school takes advantage of this great space. So if you have time, we would encourage you to just walk around the arts facility. We have practice rooms, we have a choir room, an orchestra room, a band room, a lot to see here, and we've really outgrown it already. Just so you know, PHS is now over 1,700 kids. Pretty much the same structure that Nancianne and Bill had. Freshman men's choir, freshman women's choir, PHS choir, and then this is our chamber choir. Yeah, so big program, big program.
On the morning of the event, the alumni met for breakfast and a brief concert given by the current Princeton High School choir, with whom they would be performing. No one knew exactly how many would be attending for the grand finale, but the program called for the alumni, the high school choir, and the Princeton University Glee Club under the direction of 3 conductors.
So, first line on the first page, we have Wie lieblich sind deine Wohnungen, Herr Zebaoth. All right, questions on that? Yeah.
Measure 7.
So in
Princeton High School alumni flew in from all around the country for the event. Some even gathered for a refresher rehearsal, where questions regarding various languages and pronunciations were addressed. This was to be a once-in-a-lifetime chance to honor their mentors, and no one wanted to fall short.
Yeah? Yeah. Okay, good.
The challenge of the Trego Legacy Concert was one that I had no idea how many alums were coming back, and there was this alumni choir. It was huge, and when you added the Princeton High School choir to it, we were talking well over 200, possibly 300, maybe 350 people. The good thing about the Princeton University Chapel, it has the room for that high a number of singers, of choir members. The opposite of that is, however, how do you fit them and how do you make it work, which again I mentioned at the beginning of this interview about going to rehearsals. Brad, the filmmaker, and I were both at the rehearsal for the entire day on Saturday, just because the stage kept changing and where people were being put kept changing.
On shooting this, I didn't quite know how I was going to approach it because I didn't know where I would have room to get around the choir. And I walk in, and I remember us coming in and doing entrada as the choir with our candles and stuff. I'm thinking, okay, big space, huge. Got to get up front. Got to see if I can make my way around the aisles and the risers and see where I can sneak in. When everybody piled in, I realized, oh, we've got choirs in the front, choirs at the side. I'm standing amongst them. How am I going to shoot this? And I managed to sneak back onto a set of steps that was cordoned off, so I got up high a little bit and was finally able to get a shot across the risers and try to get everybody in there. But it was difficult, and it was also emotional because I'm listening to my people singing, and I'm not up there with them, but I'm watching them and I'm thinking, oh yes, shooting people singing. Well, there's going to be a lot of open mouths. You're just going to have to accept that. You're not going to get the perfect pose, but if you can get the energy or some feeling in there, you hope that's what you hope for. I tried to just get as many shots in as close as I could to see the work happening, because you're looking at these people and they're concentrated and they're into it. A lot of them looking down. Everybody's got glasses, or most everybody. They're just into it. I was so busy feeling the whole moment. I was just really hoping that I was capturing something.
Some weeks ago, Vincent and I discussed the possibility of a new piece of music being written for tonight's event. And Vincent very kindly contacted Kimberly on our behalf, and a conversation ensued about Bill's favorite poetry. From this discussion, it was decided that Khalil Gibran's Your Children would be a wonderful text to set for tonight's event. And I'm so pleased that a member of the class of 2018 at Princeton, Kristen Haig, who was until last summer a member of the Glee Club also, agreed to write this beautiful setting of that text. We're going to perform these two pieces in our set, one after the other, without interruption. The piece that follows is by Sir Hubert Parry, and it was written almost exactly a century ago, in October 1918, right on the cusp of the armistice. And it's a setting of Psalm 39, Lord, let me know mine end. And the piece is full of yearning, and it evokes, along with the text, the sense of a composer coming to terms with the end of life and dealing with the hopes and fears of the possibility of a life beyond. So, Your Children by Kristen Haig, followed by Lord, Let Me Know Mine End by Sir Hubert Parry.
Amen.
there was an honesty in everything that Bill did. And I was a student of Elaine Brown's, so honesty was drummed into me all the time. But the thing about the sound that Bill got from the Princeton High School Choir, yes, it was in tune, yes, it was beautiful, blah, blah, blah. There was an honesty because he did everything for real reasons, for connection with his students, for them to love what they do, to love the sound that they made together as a community. And you know what he said to me one time, and this made a big impact on me. He said, you know, Jim, he said, a lot of people say that high school students are not capable of a Mozart Requiem or et cetera, all of the great works, or a Bach motet. They're not, or Brahms. He did Brahms motets almost every year. They're incapable of understanding Brahms. And Bill said, they are the same beings as us. They haven't lived as long, but they have the same insides. And he said, I don't buy into that.
the most important aspect of choral singing to me, and is something that's reflected so strongly in all of these alumni coming back and wanting to honor the memory of this great man, but also to see each other and to sing with each other, is the power of choral music and singing in choir to build community in a world that's so fractured. There's just something so powerful about singing together, and I think that as choral music moves forward in this country and in the world, it's so important to hold true to that, and to make sure that the choirs that we sing in are always communities of friends first and foremost.
It's interesting thinking about the actual performance, the actual concert, because here you had an adult alumni choir made up of former students who had been in the Princeton High School choir, most of which I have to assume from what I heard on my earphones were professionals, because in one day they put together this repertoire, which was not easy, but it certainly wasn't the most difficult classical repertoire, but it sure made a difference to everybody who both sang it and was there, because they were such lovely pieces, and they were whipped into shape by, as I said, by one day of rehearsal, and that was astounding. And to hear the actual balance between the sections, soprano, alto, tenor, and bass, and to hear their voices blending together, to me, gave me shivers, and that does not happen often on my side of the glass. And I was just blown away, as I know the audience was. The audience just responded terrifically. These are trained musicians who got their start in one of the best high school choral music organizations in the nation, bar none. And that obviously stuck with them, because they're all still doing choral work of one kind or another. loved having that choir there. I loved watching them grow in numbers, especially, and Brad will remember this, when Vincent Metallo called up all the alums who were not in the alumni choir to come up and be with them. And sure enough, there were enough alums who came up who had not sung in the previous pieces that it was overflow city. And I mean overflow city.
For being here tonight. We would just like to take this opportunity, if there are any other alum in the house from PHS that would like to join us for the traditional break forth. 'Tis time. Wherever there's space. Thank you, everybody. Princeton University, Princeton High School, Nancianne Parella, and Bill Trego.
I've been singing a lot of Bach in this Bach study group, and what I've been thinking about is that you load up, or your childhood or your training, and the combination loads you up with skills, knowledge, gifts, and you take all those skills, knowledge, and gifts, and it's kind of like shooting it's not shooting an arrow, but you're harnessing all of that in this effort to nail the inexpressible, to absolutely bingo, I've got that completely, perfectly expressed with this. And that was what Bach did, and that was why he was so effective, because he had so many gifts and skills. And Bill Trego was like that, in that he had all these gifts, and he wanted to give the absolute fullest measure of spiritual expression, which was, for him, contained in the music.
You don't really have time to think about what kind of effect you're having. You hope, I mean, for the moment that this is going to be something they're going to want to do. But I think the most heart-rending and wonderful feeling for me of Bill's memory and what we did was that the students that we taught have a lifelong love and appreciation for music. And it's not often that you can say that about people that have been taught. And they inspired us.
You know, I think Bill's influence is enormous. And the thing I always like to talk about too is, you know, as we get to this part of our life where we start losing people we love or people who have taught us, I found that after you get through the initial loss, there's an incredible afterglow that stays with you. The afterglow, I remember everything that was good between the both of us, what he taught me, the friendship. And I guess that's one of the great gifts of life. And I think the mark of a great teacher is that they leave an afterglow with every student. And he did. And that's his mark. And getting young people to understand their insides in a very gentle and caring way. And I think that's the Trego legacy, man. I mean, he just left us with a whole bunch of stuff.